The Bloom of Shadows. The storm howled through the valley, tearing through the fields like an untamed beast, its fury unchecked by the silent moon above. Rain battered the earth, drowning the golden crops in a chaotic dance of wind and water. In the heart of this storm, a lone figure trudged forward, clutching a basket of damp flowers as if it held the last breath of hope in a world slipping into darkness. Isabella, the flower seller, moved against the wind, her frail frame nearly lost to the relentless force of nature. Every step was a battle, but she knew she could not turn back. The flowers she carried were more than just blossoms. They were survival. Each petal represented another meal, another moment of warmth in the merciless winter ahead. Beyond the storm's edge, nestled within the vast fields, a man worked tirelessly. Ethan, the farmer, had spent his years tending to the land, his hands hardened by toil, his soul anchored to the rhythm of the seasons. He was a man of few words but carried an unspoken kindness in his gaze. Each day, Isabella would walk past his fields to sell her flowers, and each day, Ethan would pause his work to buy a bouquet. Not because he needed them, but because he understood that a single act of kindness could change the course of a life. Tonight, however, as the storm raged on, fate would intertwine their lives in a way neither could have foreseen. A sudden gust of wind sent Isabella's fragile frame tumbling forward, the basket slipping from her grasp as she crashed against the slick ground. Pain erupted through her body, her vision blurring as the rain consumed her senses. Darkness threatened to pull her under, but a warm touch pulled her back. Strong arms lifted her from the cold embrace of the earth, and through the haze, she recognized Ethan's concerned gaze. "You shouldn't be out in this storm," he murmured, his voice barely audible over the roaring wind. She wanted to respond, to tell him that she had no choice, but exhaustion stole her words. He carried her back to his farmhouse, the warmth of the crackling fire greeting her like an old friend. She shivered as he wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, his hands rough but gentle. "You're hurt," he noted, examining the bruises forming on her skin. She dismissed it with a shake of her head, accustomed to the hardships of life. "Every thank you deserves more giving," he whispered, his voice laced with something unspoken, something deeper than mere gratitude. Days passed, and Isabella found herself recovering within the walls of Ethan's home. The farmhouse, though simple, carried an air of warmth she had never known. The days stretched into weeks, and soon, she found herself lingering even after her strength had returned. The farmer's quiet presence became a source of comfort, his actions speaking louder than words ever could. But the valley held secrets, whispers that drifted through the night like ghosts refusing to rest. One evening, as the sun bled crimson across the sky, Isabella ventured into the fields, her feet drawn toward a path hidden beneath the towering wheat. A shadow moved in the periphery of her vision, vanishing as quickly as it appeared. A shiver crawled down her spine. She had heard the rumors, stories of a curse that plagued these lands, tales of souls lost to the darkness that lurked beyond the trees. Ethan found her standing at the edge of the field, her expression unreadable. "Some stories are best left in the past," he said, his voice carrying a weight she couldn't ignore. But curiosity was a relentless force, and that night, she found herself drawn toward the unknown. Beneath the cloak of darkness, she followed the whispers of the wind, each step leading her closer to the truth. What she found was a hidden grave, marked only by wildflowers that had grown untamed. The name etched into the stone sent a chill through her bones: Eleanor Whitmore. The pieces fell into place like shattered glass rearranging itself into a terrible picture. Eleanor, the woman who had vanished years ago, the woman Ethan had once loved. Isabella confronted him, her voice trembling as she demanded answers. Ethan's gaze darkened, a storm brewing within his eyes. She was taken by the darkness, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. There are things in this world beyond our understanding, things that hunger for souls. Dread coiled around her heart. "And have you seen it?" she asked, the question barely escaping her lips. He nodded. "It watches. It waits. But it can be fought." That night, the valley trembled as shadows rose from the depths of the earth. The darkness had come to claim another, but Isabella was not afraid. Together, she and Ethan stood against it, wielding the light of their unyielding spirits. The battle was fierce, a clash of fate and fear, but as dawn painted the sky in hues of gold, the darkness recoiled, retreating into the abyss from whence it came. In the aftermath, the valley seemed quieter, the weight of its haunted past lifting like morning mist. Isabella knew her purpose had changed. She would stay, not as a mere flower seller, but as someone who had faced the darkness and prevailed. Ethan, too, found solace in the presence of the woman who had brought light back into his life. As the seasons turned, the valley flourished, no longer burdened by the whispers of the past. The flowers Isabella grew with Ethan's help thrived, each petal a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And each day, as they stood side by side in the golden fields, they understood that every thank you truly deserved more giving. And so, under the watchful gaze of the sun, their story continued, woven into the very fabric of the land they called home. A story of mystery, of love, of courage, and the unbreakable bond between light and shadow.
Whispering echoes.